This morning is an invitation to start again with strength. Before anything else moves today, before your body fully leaves the place of rest, there is a spiritual truth you need to recognize. This morning is not accidental. You did not wake up simply because the alarm sounded or because your body completed another cycle of sleep. You woke up because mercy spoke your name again. Morning is not just a moment on the clock. Morning is a threshold, a doorway, a sacred pause where God quietly says, "You may begin again." The night carries weight. It carries silence, unanswered questions, memories, fears, fatigue, regrets. Many battles are fought in the dark hours, not with noise, but with thoughts. Thoughts that accuse. Thoughts that remind you of what failed. Thoughts that tell you that yesterday disqualified you from today. And yet, Scripture reveals a pattern that breaks this lie again and again. God moves powerfully at dawn. Lamentations tells us that His mercies are not recycled. They are not leftovers from yesterday. They are new every morning. This means whatever drained you yesterday does not own you today. Whatever weakness marked the previous season does not define this one. Morning is God's way of saying that the story is still open. But understand this carefully. A new morning does not automatically produce a renewed heart. Renewal is offered, not forced. This is why the title is not "This Morning Will Change Everything," but "This Morning is an Invitation." An invitation requires a response. There are mornings when you wake up already tired, not physically, but inwardly. Your body rested, but your spirit feels heavy. You open your eyes and immediately feel pressure, responsibility, resistance. This is not strange. The Bible never denies that mornings can be contested. In fact, it reveals that mornings are often the first battlefield of the day. David said, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and watch expectantly." Notice the posture. He does not rush into the day. He positions himself. He understands that what is spoken early has authority over what unfolds later. This is why the enemy often tries to speak first. Anxiety speaks early. Fear speaks early. Distraction speaks early. The phone speaks early. But strength is not found in reacting. Strength is found in aligning. Isaiah writes that the Lord awakens the ear morning by morning to listen as one being instructed. This tells us something profound. God is already present when you wake up. He is not waiting for you to impress Him. He is waiting for you to listen. Strength does not begin with effort. Strength begins with alignment. Many people try to start again by pushing harder, promising more, demanding more from themselves. But biblical strength is different. It is received before it is exercised. Psalm 30 reminds us that sorrow may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is spiritual law. Night is temporary. Morning carries authority to shift emotional and spiritual climates. Still, joy does not always arrive as a feeling. Sometimes it arrives as a decision. Sometimes joy looks like choosing to stand again, even when nothing feels light yet. This is where strength is born. Starting again does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means refusing to let what happened define what is possible now. God never asks you to erase your scars. He asks you not to surrender your future to them. There is a reason Jesus often withdrew early in the morning. He was not escaping people. He was establishing authority before engaging pressure. Even the Son of God chose alignment before action, not because he was weak, but because he understood the source of strength. If you skip alignment, you may still function, but you will function depleted. If you receive alignment, you move with clarity, restraint, and authority. This morning is not asking you to be perfect. It is not asking you to feel powerful. It is inviting you to stand again, anchored not in emotion, but in truth. Isaiah speaks of God giving a word to sustain the weary. Notice that the weary are not rebuked, they are sustained. Weariness is not sin. Staying disconnected is. Right now, before the noise of the day increases, this moment is offering you something specific. Permission to begin again without shame. Shame always speaks in absolutes. God speaks in process. Shame says you missed your chance. God says you are still being formed. Strength does not mean the absence of fear. Strength means fear does not lead. Strength means fear is acknowledged, but truth is obeyed. So pause here, not to analyze your entire life, not to replay everything that went wrong, Pause to recognize that the mere fact you are here, awake, breathing, listening, means God is still investing in you. Morning is His signature on continuity. Today does not demand that you fix everything. It asks that you align with the one who restores strength step by step. You are not starting from zero, you are starting from grace. This morning is an invitation to let go of the weight you carried into sleep, an invitation to stop negotiating with discouragement, an invitation to receive strength before you spend energy. When we talk about starting over with strength, it's important to dispel a common misconception. In the Bible, strength almost never appears before weakness. The biblical narrative doesn't romanticize spiritually invincible people. It reveals men and women who reached their limit, lost direction for a moment, felt fear, exhaustion, frustration, and it was precisely there that God found them. Starting over with strength doesn't mean you failed less. It means you learned where strength truly originated. David is one such example. In one of the most critical moments of his life, everything he had was lost. His city was burned, his family taken, his own men spoke of stoning him. The text is direct. David was deeply distressed. There is no spiritual mask here. There is no denial of pain. But then comes a short, decisive, transformative phrase. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. He didn't strengthen himself in the plan. He didn't strengthen himself in the explanation. He didn't strengthen himself in the strategy. He strengthened himself before any external movement. This detail is essential, because many people try to move forward without first strengthening themselves internally. The result is effort without support. Elijah experienced something similar. A powerful prophet used by God, but who after great spiritual confrontations fell into emotional turmoil. Tired, afraid, wanting to give up. God did not correct him harshly. God did not expose him. God let him sleep, nourish his body. And then he said, "Get up, for the journey is too much for you." This phrase reveals something profound. God does not ignore weariness, but He also does not allow it to dictate the end of the story. Rest was part of the new beginning, not its end. Strength returned gradually, sustained by God's presence. Jesus also chose the mornings. Even being who He was, He did not start the day rushing to meet human expectations. He withdrew to pray. This teaches us that intimidation is not a spiritual luxury. It is a source of stability. Whoever ignores this sooner or later tries to operate at their own limit. Joshua assumed a heavy leadership after the death of Moses. The text doesn't say he feels confident. On the contrary, God repeats several times, "Be strong and courageous." The repetition revealed that fear was present, but the command wasn't "be perfect." It was, "Do not deviate, do not fear, do not stop." Biblical strength is not the absence of fear, it's acceptance despite it. These are recommended to show a consistent spiritual pattern. God doesn't wait for you to pull yourself together on your own before revealing Himself. He reveals Himself when you admit you need strength. The problem isn't starting over. The problem is trying to start the same way, without alignment, without dependence, without inner silence. Starting over with strength requires a change of source. You stop drawing energy from approval, control, and haste, and start drawing strength from presence. This changes the rhythm. It changes how decisions are made. It even changes the weight of difficulties. When God strengthens someone, He doesn't immediately remove all obstacles. He adjusts the inner posture so that obstacles no longer govern the heart. That is spiritual maturity. Up to this point, observe something important. None of these people were defined by their worst moment. They were all redefined by the response they gave to God's invitation. And that same invitation is active now. The question that naturally arises at this moment is not about biblical characters. It's about you. Up to this point, can you perceive that spiritual strength is not pressure to achieve, but permission to depend? Starting over with strength is not an abstract concept. It's not just something that happens in the spirit while the real day goes on as usual. When God invites someone to start over, He also teaches how to walk differently within the same day, the same responsibilities, the same scenarios. The most common mistake is thinking that a spiritual restart requires an immediate external change. New environment, new people, new circumstances. But the Bible reveals another logic. God first changes the inner axis, and from this new axis, everything begins to reorganize itself. Isaiah says that those who wait on the Lord renew their strength. Note that the text doesn't say those who run, those who produce, or those who solve everything. It says those who wait. Waiting here is not passivity. It is alignment. It is refusing to move forward disconnected from the source. Waiting on the Lord is waking up and deciding that the rhythm of the day will not be dictated by anxiety. It is choosing not to start reacting, but discerning. It is allowing strength to come before the agenda. The psalm declares, "This is the day the Lord has made." This means that the day is born with intention. It is not neutral. It is not an empty field where you need to fight alone to survive. There is direction available. There is provision prepared. But all of this is accessed when you recognize who the author of the day is. Starting over with strength requires practical, albeit silent, decisions. The first is not to compromise with haste. Haste steals clarity. When everything seems urgent, nothing is truly important. Spiritual strength manifests itself in the ability to prioritize the essential, even under pressure. The second decision is not to carry burdens that are not yours. Hebrews speaks of laying aside every weight. Weight is not necessarily sin. Often, it is the expectations of others, old guilts, comparisons, exaggerated self-demands. God does not strengthen someone so that they continue walking bent over. The third decision is to trust before understanding. Proverbs calls us to trust in the Lord with all our heart and not to lean on our own understanding. This directly confronts the need for control. Starting over with strength means accepting that you won't see everything clearly, but you won't walk without direction. Paul writes that although the exterior wears out, the interior is renewed day by day. This teaches us something liberating. You can be externally tired and yet spiritually strengthened. The strength God offers doesn't negate human effort, but prevents it from becoming destructive. Remember this: God doesn't call you to a day without challenges, but to a day where challenges don't define who you are. When you start the day with renewed strength, some things change. Problems cease to be final judgments and become processes. Obstacles cease to be threats and become learning points. Tiredness ceases to be a sign of failure and becomes an invitation to proper rest. Starting over with strength also means accepting that growth happens in layers. You won't become everything today, but today you can become more aligned than yesterday. That's already victory in process. The day may bring difficult conversations, complex decisions, moments of doubt, but now you don't enter them empty-handed. You enter sustained. You enter aware that you don't need to prove anything to be accepted by God. The strength that comes from the Lord doesn't shout, it sustains. It stabilizes. It allows you to walk firmly even when the terrain is uneven. And perhaps the most profound application of this moment is this: don't go back to living on autopilot after hearing all this. Autopilot drains. Spiritual awareness preserves. There's a point in every spiritual journey where the message ceases to be merely heard and begins to be answered from within, not with audible words, but with silent decisions. This is that point. Up to this point, it's clear that the morning carries an invitation, that strength comes from God, and that the day can be lived from this new inner axis. But something even deeper is happening now. God is not only offering strength for your day, He is repositioning your heart. Spiritual repositioning always requires detachment, not just from wrong things, but from old things. Paul writes about forgetting what's behind and moving forward. He's not talking about emotional amnesia. He's talking about not allowing the past to continue governing the present. Many people even accept the idea of a new beginning, but try to burden it with the same internal narratives. The narrative of guilt, the narrative of inadequacy, the narrative of "I've always been like this," the narrative of the fear of failing again. These narratives drain strength. Hebrews speaks of running the race, laying aside every weight. Weight isn't what immediately knocks you down. Weight is what slows you down, what tires you prematurely, what makes each step seem harder than it should be. God isn't calling you to a heavy restart. He's calling you to a free restart. There's also an invitation to prioritize. Jesus was direct when He said to seek first the kingdom. This isn't a religious requirement, it's a spiritual strategy. When the essential takes first place, the rest finds order. When the essential is left for later, everything becomes urgent and nothing becomes direction. Perhaps one of the greatest battles at this moment isn't against evident sin, but against constant distraction. Distraction fragments the soul. It prevents depth. It creates movement without progress. And the enemy doesn't need to stop you if he can only keep you superficial. Therefore, this section doesn't call for more spiritual activity, but for spiritual awareness. To be whole, present, attentive, aligned. There's also a relational aspect here. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. God doesn't break down the door. He doesn't force, he invites. This reveals something precious. God respects your process, but he doesn't give up on purpose. Accepting this invitation means allowing God to enter even the areas where you've become accustomed to managing on your own. Areas where you stopped praying because you got tired of waiting. Areas where you created emotional defenses to avoid further frustration. Renewed strength doesn't mean these areas disappear. It means you're no longer alone in them. This is the point where many only agree mentally, but few allow for real transformation. Because real transformation requires continuous surrender, not just intense moments. It's not about making grand promises, it's about sincere adjustments. Adjusting your way of thinking, adjusting your pace, adjusting your expectations, adjusting your source of validation. When this happens, something shifts inside. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, your spirit becomes more sensitive, and without you needing to announce it, the day begins to be lived differently. This section doesn't end with a question, because it doesn't ask for a verbal answer. It asks for an inner disposition, the willingness not to return to the same place after having been invited to something deeper. The invitation remains open. The heart is being aligned. The force has already begun to flow, albeit silently. Eternal God, at this moment we do not rush, we do not ask for haste, we do not raise our voices to try to convince heaven. We stop, we present ourselves. We acknowledge that this day began because you willed it to begin. Here we are aware that true strength is not born from human effort, but from the presence that sustains the heart. We recognize that many times we try to start again carrying old burdens, untreated memories, excessive expectations, silent fears. Today, before you, we do not deny our weariness. We place it in its proper place. Lord, receive all that has weakened us along the way. Receive the sleepless nights of the soul. Receive the frustrations we did not know how to name. Receive the days when we continued functioning, even when our inner selves were exhausted. We do not present this as an excuse, but as surrender. You said not to fear because you yourself strengthen. So we do not ask for strength as one who demands, but as one who trusts. Strengthen the inner self. Adjust the axis. Reorganize what has become misaligned over time. May the strength that comes from you not make us hard, but firm. May it not make us hasty, but constant. May it not make us proud, but aware of our dependence. Today we declare that this new beginning will not be sustained by emotional promises, but by daily decisions. We decide to align our hearts before aligning our agendas. We decide to listen before reacting. We decide to walk without denying challenges, but also without allowing them to define our identity. Where there was fear, establish trust. Where there was confusion, establish clarity. Where there was weariness, establish continuous renewal. We do not ask for a day without struggles, but we ask for a heart guarded in the midst of them. We do not ask for the absence of problems, but for discernment to overcome them without losing inner peace. May your presence govern our choices, our words, our reactions. May each step be guided with spiritual sobriety. May we know how to stop when necessary, move forward when the time is right, and wait when silence is the instruction. Remove from us the need to prove our worth. Remove the comparison that steals joy. Remove the guilt that paralyzes. And teach us to live this day as a process with you, not as a test that needs to be overcome. We surrender this day as it is, not as we would like it to be. We surrender ourselves as we are, not as we pretend to be. And we trust that step by step strength will continue to be renewed, not all at once, but at the right pace, at the right time, in the right way. We receive this new beginning with sobriety, with gratitude and with mature hope. We do not walk alone. We do not begin empty. We do not proceed disconnected. This day is in your hands. We proceed aware of your presence. Amen.